Hello beauties, welcome back to the vlog. This week we are talking about the importance of being a dreamer. Some of the people that I know that have had a huge influence on my life, and many of the people I don't know who have had a big influence on business in our world, were dreamers. People who saw something no one else saw, who sat around and thought about, this is how I imagine them, who were sitting around drinking something in a room, let's say it's coffee, and thinking about what could be next and trying to solve the unsolvable problems. I do have a romantic view of the dreamer in a way, but in the dreamers I know are actually quite practical. They're people who say, well, a dream can become a goal, and a goal can become a strategy, and that strategy can become a reality. And that's such a cool way to think about dreaming and being a dreamer. And I know Todd and I take time, sometimes I'll say, well, do you want to sit and just dream with me? And we sit and we think about what's next for us as a couple. We think about what's next for our family. We think about what's next for our community or for our company. So we definitely take that time to be dreamers. The way we execute on our dreams is very different. Todd is a big vision, jump in with both feet and go. And I am a big vision, but let's take small steps to get to a big space. So it's interesting how that can manifest. Today I want to share a couple reasons why you should consider becoming more of a dreamer. One is that if you really want to be happy in this core of yourself, the core of your being or your soul or whatever you'd like to call it, having a dream really connects you to that, right? You have to be self-aware enough to know what lights your soul on fire, so to speak. And so it can connect you with your true self. The other reason to become a dreamer is that you have a choice in what you do in your life. You don't have to resign yourself to something or settle for something. You have a say and a choice in what you do. And that dream could be what's next. You may have a true calling that you have ignored. You know, when I look at my children, I wonder, sometimes speaking of dreaming, I wonder what they're going to be when they grow up, so to speak. I wonder what I'm going to be when I grow up, to be honest. And, you know, my son right now is obsessed with cakes and cake making. And so every weekend right now we're making different kinds of cakes because he's super into it. You know, is he going to become a pastry chef? And what does that dream look like, right? And we start talking about what that could be because we want him to be a dreamer too. And maybe that's his true calling, or maybe he just likes cake right now. We don't know, but it's worth exploring that to find out what your true calling is too. There is this belief that if you follow your dreams that they'll magically come true, like we're some sort of Disney fantasy, right? And I think that what's more realistic, and this is where I'm different from others as a dreamer, is that if you have a plan and if you set a goal and if you work hard for it, sometimes even then your dream won't come true. And that's okay, right? We've talked about the importance of failure and learning and getting back up and doing the next thing. But sometimes your dream does come true. And wouldn't you, I'll rephrase that, I'll say this. I would rather try to see if my dream was going to come true than not try at all. Another one is to be open to possibilities. I gave a talk last week about this, that one of the things that I have tried to do in my life is to recognize opportunities in front of me and be open to them. It's just because I didn't think I could sell cars, for example, didn't mean that that wasn't the right path for me, and it was, right? I don't know that I would have taken that path forward that led me to where I am now if I hadn't been open to possibility. So you never know, and you want to be aware of that, and don't close yourself off to something that someone offers you. At least hear them out. And this is something else I want you to consider. The more you do, the more you do, right? So the more you dream, the more you'll be able to dream, the more you'll be able to envision for yourself. I've had many people say to me over the years, if you want to get something done, ask the busy person, because they're the one who's already doing things. And it's very similar with becoming a dreamer. If you sit and you're very intentional about it, even if it's just for a few minutes, you're going to start thinking more about possibility, and it's going to shift you. There's a positivity to possibility. And then the other thing here is that, and I've said this before and I'll say this again, is that if you don't share your talent with the world, and this is not my saying and I'm paraphrasing here, then you're really robbing the world of your gift, aren't you? I mean, you have something unique to you, whatever that is, and if you don't share that, if you don't think about that in terms of a big dream, then you're robbing yourself and me and your friends and everyone else of the awesomeness that is you. We'll be talking more this week about dreams and dreaming big. I'll see you tomorrow.